As of right now, Philadelphia Eagles have signed or reportedly will sign 22 undrafted free agents. And at the top of that list is none other than Notre Dame running back and Warrington, Pennsylvania native Josh Adams. But for the sake of this video and the fact that I already did a video on Josh Adams yesterday, I'm going to pick somebody else, maybe for argument's sake, maybe for contrarian sake, as my, I guess I'll say favorite undrafted free agent player, because I wouldn't say this would be the best Eagles undrafted free agent player, because I think Josh Adams is at the top of that list. But before I get to this particular player, and the reason why I'm making this video again is I want to talk about this guy because I think he can make an impact in a couple years. And he's somebody that I actually looked into. All right. Before I get to that, though, first thing I wanted to stress is this. If you're watching videos of these draft prospects and you want to get more of a look on these guys, I'd like you guys to go to a website called draftbreakdown.com. Many of you guys might know what this is. And if you guys do, well, go back to it and watch videos of these guys. Because I hate highlights. I do. I really do. Highlights hides weaknesses. Highlights don't show you why a guy fell. And that's kind of the point of this is I'm getting all these, oh, man, Josh Adams is a freak. Josh Adams is a beast. I know that hometown fans always overhype their players, but guys also get overhyped because all they watch is highlight clips. I mean, if you're taking the best of the best of somebody, of course you can take the best out of the best in somebody and make them look like a first-round pick, because that's the point of a highlight tape. Go to draftbreakdown.com. It's awesome for so many different reasons. Say you want to watch something on Dallas Goedert. Say you want to watch him play against North Dakota State. You can watch that whole game in less than 10 minutes. Edits the huddles. You don't have to watch South Dakota State play defense. Go to that website and watch as much Dallas Goedert tape as you can. Or you can even type it into YouTube. Dallas Goedert versus North Dakota State. You'll see it pop up. And then I'm sure when you watch that video, more videos of him will pop up on the right-hand side. That's how I want you guys to watch these prospects, not by looking at a highlight clip. That's not the right way to go. All right, so that's like the first thing I wanted to stress. I'm not saying that Josh Adams isn't going to be a beast, but there's a reason why he went undrafted. Now, with that being said, I do want to say this. In hindsight, I like how the Eagles approached the running back position in this draft. And here's what I have to say about that. So, we all knew coming in that it was a loaded running back class. There was a lot of good prospects out there, right? Guys that you were getting in the fourth round were basically like third-round value, fifth, fourth-round value, et cetera, et cetera. So, once you got to the undrafted guys, these were guys that were like fourth, fifth, sixth-round value. And with the Eagles' offensive line, I'm not saying that you can plug anybody back there because we saw that with Donnell Pumphrey. It doesn't work for everybody. But if you have a guy with some vision and some wiggle, a guy that can get downhill, and the fact that the Eagles have a committee, right? They have a committee, and every one of their running backs fits a specific need. And Josh Adams, what is he going to fit to? He's going to cater towards the LeGarrette Blount role. In between the tackles, downhill. He's got burst through the hole. He's got balance in his pad level. So when he gets through the hole and he makes contact with that initial linebacker, he's got good pad level and balance to be able to take that linebacker and churn 2 to 3 extra yards. Now, going back to reasons why he was undrafted. Well, he's not always going to bounce runs to the outside. That's not his strength. In terms of, being out in space, he's not going to make people miss consistently. But in terms of what you need him here for, he fits the LeGarrette Blount role pretty nicely, pretty solidly. And the fact that you were able to get him undrafted, I mean, that just shows how much depth there was at the running back position. Corey Clement, it was the same deal last year for the running backs. Corey Clement was undrafted. And, it's crazy to think that a guy like him was undrafted. mean, he should have went in the 4th or 5th round, but he was undrafted because of how good the class was, and he just kind of fell through the cracks, just like Josh Adams fell through the cracks. Kareem Wadley was another guy I liked. He fell through the cracks, right? All right. So now moving on, I want to get on to my player. And before we get there, let me just kind of bring up this point too. So guaranteed money on undrafted free agents. This is always kind of a good gauge to see who they really kind of like. Josh Adams got $55,000, top on the list. The next guy on this list is Georgia State cornerback Shannon Sullivan, $51,000. LSU tackle Toby Weathersby got $40,000, which brings me to the next guy on this list, and the guy that I'm curious to see if he pans out because I like him a little bit, and I think he fits what Jim Schwartz likes to do with his safeties, and that's South Alabama safety Jeremy Reeves, and he got $30,000. This was a safety class that had Derwin James. It had Minkah Fitzpatrick. They were never going to fall to the Eagles. After those two guys, even though Derwin James is more of an in-the-box safety type, after those two guys, the only guys that really fit the Eagles were Justin Reed and Jesse Bates. Justin Reed would have fit the Eagles to a T because he played some slot at Stanford. He's more of a cover guy. He can do a little bit of everything, but he's more of a coverage safety, and that's what the Eagles like out of their safeties. Is guys with the ability to cover, guys with the ability to match up with wide receivers in the slot. Jesse Bates, Justin Reed, they both have this capability. Now, Jesse Bates is more of he's more of a center field type, and I think he fits best in a cover too. But Jesse Bates, more of the cover guy. There were a lot of safeties in this class that were like these in-the-box safety types. You look at Ronnie Harrison. He complemented Minkah Fitzpatrick so well because, he's like that Cam Chancellor type. Armani Watts is another one. Deshaun Elliott out of Texas. He was a popular name for Eagles fans, but he's more of a physical run defender, I think more so than a cover safety. I know he had a bunch of interceptions, but if you actually looked at his interceptions, most of them were because, he was kind of in the right position based on where the coaches put him out on the field. He didn't have to range a lot for his interceptions. Guys like Kazir White. Who else am I missing? Quinn Blanding. I mean, Marcus Allen. A lot of these safeties were kind of physical in-the-box types. One of the guys that Brendan and I didn't study but were thinking about was Jeremy Reeves. And Reeves was a guy we considered doing a film room on is because he was a former cornerback. And he's a former cornerback that transitioned to safety. And when you watch him on tape, he does have a smooth back pedal. And there's something to work with there. We eventually wound up not doing something on him because, we had already done like 6 to 7 safeties, and we wanted to move on to a different position. And if we didn't spend so much damn time on the safeties – because it was one of the first positions that we covered. We did a lot of linebackers and a lot of safeties. When, in hindsight, I wish we did more. I wish we kept some of these positions to a minimum because since we had so many safeties and linebackers that we did, we never got a chance to get to the tight ends, and we never got to do Mike Gesicki, and we never got to do now Eagles tight end Dallas Goedert. So. If there's one thing I look back in hindsight, I wish we didn't spend so much time doing one particular position. But it's also one of those things. I mean, when you start something you're all excited to do it, and then you start getting exhausted because you're getting so fully entrenched into all these prospects. I mean, there were so many guys that I looked at that we didn't even do film studies on because we just didn't have the time to do it. And that's why I bring up Jeremy Reeves. I mean, Josh Adams was also another guy that I looked at. And Jeremy Reeves, man, there's something to work with there because he was one of the few safeties with coverage ability. And I think you put him with Jim Schwartz, a guy that can really coach him up, you may have something here. You may. So a few years from now, remember that name, Jeremy Reeves, safety out of South Alabama. So I wanted to make this video to bring up a few key points. I wanted to talk about Josh Adams again. I wanted to talk about Jeremy Reeves. I also just wanted to talk about also how I like the Eagles' draft strategy and kind of what they did. If I had to give them a draft grade, I'll probably say a B. But in all honesty, I hate giving out draft grades. I really do, because we don't know how these players are going to pan out. We are conditioned to believe some guys are better than others based on what we hear on television or what we see in terms of the positional rankings. Like a guy like Harold Landry fell. I wasn't very high on Harold Landry coming in. I wasn't very high on Connor Williams coming in. Whenever I do my positional rankings, like, I do what I see on tape, what I feel, whatever. Like, my best tackle, my number one tackle was Brian O'Neill. My number two tackle was Tyrell Crosby. It wasn't until 3 that I had Mike McGlinchey. I'm not afraid of going against the mold and going against what the popular opinion is. And the reason why I say that is when we're looking at these grades, a lot of people are grading based on what the popular opinion was of players. And the scouts, they always look at things a little bit differently than the public does. I mean, they're going to have their own opinion. Like Austin Corbett, for example, tackle out of Nevada, taken with like the first pick in the second round. Like, as much heat as we gave the Cleveland Browns and John Dorsey, who knows? 3 years from now, we don't know if Bradley Chubb's going to be a 100% home run. Maybe, maybe it winds up being that, Baker Mayfield is the stud quarterback of this draft. We don't know. We won't know until 3 years from now. So, yeah, I just rambled on for however long I just rambled on. But I talked about a lot of different things, and hope you guys watched all of this. So I'm Adrian Fedkiw. I'm out. Peace.